Everyone knows that's the case. Why does everybody just ignore it when they're publicly speaking about who deserves a title shot? That's what I don't understand. Especially Conor, dude. So when you go to fight week going into UFC 294, when they asked Khamzat if there was going to be an issue between him, fighting Sean Strickland since they're buddies or whatever, Khamzat laughed. He literally was like, what? He acted as if Chael had asked him if he knew how to tie his shoes. You know, he's like, what? No. You give me money, I smash anybody. And he wins now, and they go ask Strickland, does Khamzat deserve a title shot? And Strickland definitely was not nice about what he said, says he doesn't deserve it. I'm going to show you the clip. And then a bunch of other people weighed in on whether or not they think Khamzat deserved a title shot, and I'm going to tell you what they said. You got Conor, Costa, a bunch of other people. So we're going to look at what they said, and then I'm going to tell you what I think, using examples that are extraordinarily relevant as it relates to when other people got title shots and then what the results were, etc. Right? So that's what we're going to do. So if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell. If you could like this video, that would be incredibly helpful to me and the channel. I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm leaving to Cancun tomorrow. I'll be in and out doing live streams this coming up week, but don't worry. I'm not dead. And if you want to follow what we're doing in Cancun, get a lot of shots of my lady in a bikini, most likely, you can follow me on Instagram because I'm going to be storying the hell out of the trip. Real Jesse on Fire on Instagram. All right, so let's start right here. All right, so this is the this is the clip that I'm essentially responding to, and then we're going to get into some comparative stuff.
And maybe the UFC should rebook Khamzat versus Paulo. Conor McGregor tweeted this. He wrote, you know what? Chimaev may need to prove more for a 185-pound title shot for me. He must be the true 185er. Rebook Chimaev versus Costa. Costa replied saying Conor is right. Put at least a legit middleweight fighter. He fought nobody at middleweight, only a small 170 in short notice. Let's go in December. I think is time enough, don't you think so? Rafael Dos Anjos says rebook Paulo Costa versus Chimaev. Before title shot, he need to win over a real middleweight. Paulo also responded to RDA. He wrote, that's what needs to be done. Not other better than this. Ariel Helwani retweeted this. It says Khamzat is a super talent, but a majority decision win over an 0-2 injured short notice ex-welterweight champ isn't nearly as impressive as a one-sided KO over a fully prepared former middleweight champ.
God, that is so disrespectful, man. That is so disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. I mean, anyway. It's like you have two different conversations here, and I want to make sure that I say that before we get into it. But like, the conversation is not, does Khamzat deserve a title shot? It's, does he deserve a title shot over Dricus du Plessis? That's the conversation, not whether or not Khamzat deserves a title shot. And, minimizing who Kamaru Usman is a stupid argument. But anyway, we'll continue in a second.
Dricus du Plessis should be next for Strickland. Come on. Ariel said, I agree. Josh Thompson.
So as long as Ariel is saying, I agree as it relates to who should get the next shot versus the characterization of Kamaru in the way that they're laying that out, then I'm with Ariel.
Thompson tweeted, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily I'm with Ariel, but I'm saying that's a totally acceptable opinion.
The question is, does Khamzat deserve a title shot after that performance, or does du Plessis get it, who had a finish over Whitaker to earn his shot? Deron Wynn says no way you give title shot after that. And here's what Sean Strickland had to say about Khamzat. Sean also does not believe he deserves the title shot.
Whoever put him and Don Fry together is an absolute brilliant genius, by the way.
The only thing I like about Chimaev is he sells fights. For some reason, people fucking like him or don't like him. I don't know. To me, he's a fucking paycheck. He sells a lot of fights, people paying to watch, but he hasn't earned it, doesn't fucking deserve it. But here we are. Give it to him. He sells a lot of fights. I'll go fucking fight the man for 5 rounds. But no, he has not earned it. He doesn't fucking deserve it. And getting a decision with a welterweight off a couch is not fucking earned it. Here's the thing about Chimaev. The man can fucking fight. The man could fight. We all know that. He beat Usman to a decision. Usman old, retired, but whatever. He still did it. But me and him are fucking different. Chimaev could be right here. I will fight that man to the death right here, knowing I'm going to die. That ain't.
You really think that Chimaev does not fall? I love Strickland. For the record, I love Strickland. So I'm not like, and I respect the fact, I believe everything that he's saying about himself. I don't believe that Khamzat is in a different category as it relates to that.
Chimaev, dude.
And that's going to wrap it up.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit. But, so yeah. Okay, so look. So you have two conversations. Okay? Does Khamzat deserve a title shot is number one, right? That's number one. And it always comes down to, what do you mean by deserves it? Okay? What does that mean? Are you just talking about who a guy's beaten versus who another guy's beaten? Are we going to do this every single time? And do we always have to come back to my channel or Chael's channel for us to say, hey guys, this is not how this works. It's not how it works. For the 1,000th time, it's not how it works. Okay? How many people, let me rewind. So Strickland saying that he doesn't deserve a title shot is important to note because of the nature of Strickland's title shot, first of all. Okay? Strickland got a title shot because Dricus couldn't fight. The UFC didn't want to do it, and Izzy talked Strickland into, or talked the UFC into giving Strickland a title shot. Now, how did that work out? Great for Strickland, great for the UFC. Strickland is going to be an astronomical draw. The UFC still doesn't realize, I'm not sure if they even realize how big of a star he is, okay? But I do. Strickland's a massive star. The next time he fights, it's going to sell bananas numbers. Izzy did 400,000 buys on International Fight Week. I promise you, you put Strickland in there and he's going to do 300,000 more minimum, just on his own, all right? And so, deserve the title shot, not deserve the title shot is not about just your fights and wins. It's about how big of a draw you are. That's why the UFC didn't want to do the fight with Strickland, is because he's a live wire on the microphone. They weren't sure if he could be a professional, but also they didn't think he was a huge draw. And they knew the Dricus Plessis and Israel Adesanya fight was a huge draw. Okay, so who's a bigger draw now? Is it Khamzat or is it Dricus? And the reason why this is, I'm going to go to the fights also, right? The reason why this is notable is because you could easily justify giving either of them a title shot, okay? If you are purely going head-to-head their most recent win, then sure. Yeah, Dricus finished Robert Whittaker, right? Yes, noted. Khamzat beat Kamaru. Now, I fervently disagree with the characterization of Kamaru as a 170-pounder coming off the couch, as if, like, there's no big deal that Khamzat beat Kamaru. That's ludicrous. I get it that he hadn't fought at 85, and so there's always going to be that, like, well, is he even really an 85er? Okay, well, all these guys used to fight at 170. Strickland was a 170 fighter. Then he went up to middleweight. Like, the idea that these guys who are great at 70, then they go to 85, that, you know, it's not like Kamaru was desperate in the welterweight division. He lost 2 fights that we talked about. He got kicked in the head at the very end of a fight that he had dominated, and then he lost a razor-thin decision that he could have won to Leon in his last fight. The idea that he's this, like, fighter on a slide, especially after that fight yesterday, I really think that it's a huge mischaracterization of his career. Anyway, I don't need to get into the fight yesterday again, but bottom line, it's a very notable win. And had Kamaru not been so phenomenal at defense, Khamzat would have finished him in the first round, you know? So here's what I wanted to show you guys though. Okay. So check this out. So this is Strickland's fights going into his title shot, right? He goes decision against Uriah Hall, split decision over Jack Hermanson, knockout loss to Pereira, split decision Jared Cannonier, very close fight in my opinion, without there having been a 10-8 round. That's as close as you're going to get to where, like, if the judges were like, I know we're supposed to pick a winner, but that fight's a draw, I don't think anyone would have argued, right? Then he gets a decision over Imamov, and then he gets his stoppage win over Magomedov, which was awesome. Okay, so he's 2-2 in his last 4 when he gets his title shot, right? 2-2. Now, I know you guys know that Khamzat's undefeated, but actually look at this guy's career. And he's going back and forth between welterweight and middleweight. Usman, majority, boom. Kevin Holland, who is a middleweight, fought him at a catchweight, and he strangled him after complete domination, 2 minutes. Gilbert Burns, the only guy that Khamzat was not able to completely dominate grappling, okay? Li Jingliang, strangle. Mershard, instant knockout. McKee, knockout. TKO. But you see what I'm saying? Like, this guy's walked through every single person that he's fought. And he's a huge draw. So, he doesn't deserve, I mean, of course he deserves it. Of course he deserves it. But, again, to your point, to the point that everybody was making, I mean, listen, dude, Dricus, let's look at Dricus. He's on a huge, huge win streak too. And if Izzy was the champion, who do you think would be fighting? You know, like, this isn't rocket science. If Izzy was still the champion, this is who would be getting the next title shot. 100%. But Izzy's not fighting. And it's Sean Strickland, and there's no story there. So is Dricus a big draw absent that? I mean, look at dude. He's won a lot. He's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. TK, stoppage, decision, stoppage. Damn, I didn't even realize that, dude. I mean, if you want to start at the UFC ones, stoppage. Wait. One decision, and that's against Tavares. I mean, yeah, he deserves a title shot for sure. He absolutely deserves a title shot. Dricus deserves a title shot for sure. So does Khamzat. Now, who do I think has the best chance against Strickland? I don't know. Both those guys are monsters. But Strickland, again, dude, I really think that people are going... As soon as Strickland beats a guy like either of those guys, actually, that have a really significant grappling threat, like a really elite top-level grappling threat, once Strickland beats a guy like that, that's when people are going to go, whoa, dude. Because bottom line, yeah, he beat Izzy, and he beat Izzy at his own game, but Izzy's game is so different than Khamzat's and Dricus. That's why a lot of people were looking at, Khamzat going to 85, because they're like, look, dude, you are in a league of your own grappling-wise there. All these top guys are primarily strikers. You come in with that grappling game, you're probably going to win the title. Dricus, kind of was dark horse, but same type of deal. So if John Strickland is able to shake off the takedown attempts and keep it standing, and then he really beats him up, that he could have a long reign, dude. He really could. It'd be interesting if Alex Pareja came back to 85. I doubt he will. Who knows? Maybe if Yuri starches him or something, and Pereira comes back, gets a couple wins, and then you get to have Strickland versus Pereira again, that would be awesome. Pereira is just like this dark horse that does all these multi-fight generational or legacy-making trilogies and stuff. Be awesome. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just keep going back to what does deserve mean, Like everybody knows Magomed Ankalaev just said he understands he needs to be better at building his profile to get a title shot. It's like everybody knows this. Everyone knows that's the case. Why does everybody just ignore it when they're publicly speaking about who deserves a title shot? That's what I don't understand. Especially Conor, dude. Especially Conor. He knows better than anybody. Now, I do want to... Here's the other thing. I really do agree that Khamzat versus Costa, that should happen. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that fight. That fight's a huge draw, and it would be, in terms of the fights itself, that would be a huge deal to see that Khamzat can beat a guy like Costa, for sure. I don't disagree with that at all. But I just want to keep coming back to this, that when people go, that guy does not deserve a title shot, it's as if they just forget how the game actually works. Every single new UFC fighter will have a conversation with a veteran, and every smart veteran will tell them, you need to learn to build your profile. If you want a title shot and you don't want to have to win 15 in a row, you need to build your social media. You need to build your ability to bring eyeballs aside from just when you fight and the UFC has put the spotlight on you. You need to take that spotlight and put it on yourself. It is critical to the advancement of your career that you do that. Everyone knows that. And then we get into the who deserves a title shot thing, and people just forget that that's a factor. It's a factor. Okay? If I had to guess, I'm betting on... You know what? On this one, I actually don't know for sure. I don't actually know for sure who they're going to go with on this one. I feel almost bulletproof confident that they're going to go with Charles for Islam next versus Gaethje. That's not because I love Gaethje, but I just mean I feel pretty confident that's the fight they're going to do. This one, man, it is really 50-50 because it would be a tough sell to say that Dricus needs to win another fight for him to get the title shot. And he is a pretty big draw now because of the thing with Izzy. I wonder if they could get him to do I wonder if they could get Izzy to come back to the Dricus fight, Like, I don't know, a 3-round co-main or whatever. I don't know. I honestly don't really know. I do not know what they're going to do. That one is a toss-up. There's no easy answer on who they're going to give them to. But anyway, that's what I got. And thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Bye.